the trial?
Yes. It's a tough situation for Elias. And very embarrassing, but the truth is that Elias is very...
He's a brave man.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Listen, Isabel, Elias asked me to bring you up to speed because it's possible that once the sentence is handed down, the case will reach the newspapers. So what he doesn't want for you is to find out through the media if that were to happen.
Once again, our private life is going to become a public joke.
It's possible. I'm sorry.
Guys, good to have you back here. This is Telemundo. Thank you for logging on to my YouTube channel. So this is again time for Passionistas. Let's talk about Law of the Heart. And the last episode that just occurred, of course, it started with the Ruiz and Mr. and Mrs. Ruiz case in the law court. Eventually, the judge advising her, Mrs. Amma, to go for some tests to ascertain that this cosmetic surgery she's done on her face has not affected her psychologically, mentally, and otherwise. So that being said, the next scene was Isabel and Julia. She had got in a previous episode that they had actually agreed to meet, and she came into the law firm with Julia. They had a conversation and talked about the situation, how the case has affected Elias' job in the last few months. That so she's aware of some of the things that had occurred or had happened, and also they talked about it generally. And in the long run, she tells Julia that she misses Elias. So, and if she was in that position, if she would be able to forgive her husband or her spouse or whoever it is, Julia told her, well, that being said, she wasn't so sure of what to do. So the next thing is Catalina and Carmen. She's still worried that Catalina is worried that Gabriel hadn't called her since they parted. Like, yes, they parted. He hadn't called her, and so anyway, Carmen advises her to call him. So Pablo and Julia, they're together. She came to tell him good night for the evening, and guess what, they were about kissing, and Carmen walked into this scene and she disrupted them in a way. So Julia eventually had to say goodbye to Pablo and she leaves. Then there was a little gossip between Carmen and Pablo that if she wasn't there, he would have had a good night kiss, and they discussed around about it, that they eventually told Carmen they eventually had a date and whatever, you understand, those kind of small like gist around the whole place. It was so sweet to hear. Then the next thing is Nick and Laura gets to see Nick, and Nick advises her on what to do, that they need to resue Alejandra for killing Santiago. So he convinced her, like he already said, he was going to do everything to make sure Alejandra gets to jail. He convinces her and told her some of the things she needs to put in place, and also introduced her or gave her the number to a lawyer that would was standing for her, that is Roberto, Camilo's friend. So that's ongoing about that. The Mariela's husband is asking for a divorce. It's asking for a divorce, and Catalina is in charge of that case, and she feels so and advises Mariela that that is the best thing that would happen to her at this very point in time, and that she should accept it in good faith. Though she was trying to actually check that she has 3 kids to cater for, so maybe a lot of burden on her, but Catalina advised her that she would be there for her. So at this time, Catalina called summons the courage and eventually calls Gabriel. They had a conversation. She asked if she could meet him at the weekend. He said no, that he had some other things to do, but he would definitely get back to her one of these days, and that triggered her. She ended the call and went to why am I laughing like this? She ended the call and went to meet Maria at the parlor to explain to her what happened. And then single ladies, is that how it is? Man, obviously to him, I think okay, to him is a fling, but to her it's something really okay. She eventually went to meet Maria the parlor to explain to her the situation that Gabriel hadn't called her. She calls, and this is his attitude. Maria sat her down and gave her some real big advice that, well, all Camila is after, Catalina is after is to just get married, see her dream husband get married. But no, what she did for her was to have just to make herself happy. Like obviously Catalina is very, very, very much broken. Like she's broken, she's not so happy with the situation or the place Gabriel has placed her, or what has happened or transpired. So let's look forward to see what would what would unveil after this. So Pablo is with the kids. Yes, of course, like usual, Federico is not happy. He has attitude towards him, not so happy for me. Although his usual attitude, because Pablo had refused to come to the house. He tries to get to talk with him and make him feel happy, and then but Federico is Federico, and he's not really happy. He said he doesn't, that he's not saying him because the father is coming. So also afterwards he had a conversation with Emena and with Mama. They're having a conversation. They're having a conversation about everything. She feels happy, she feels sad. She's feeling happy that Camilo is coming out of prison. Then number two, she feels sad that Pablo isn't happy with the situation, or as that case may eventually be. So she's at a cross mode, but her mama isn't really to push her. He just want her to let, like she already advised her, she should let love lead in this situation. It's not she's not going to use her head, her intellect or anything, but she has to let love actually lead her in this decision she's about to undergo. So the next thing is Pablo. That same night, Pablo visits, unannounced visits Julia. And guess what? After a short conversation, they eventually kissed. Obviously, she has fallen in love with Pablo. So we have the next day is Pablo, Julia, and then the court filing for a case, a hearing for one of their clients for termed as abuse of the child, like overfeeding. The mom is feeding her too much, so they're trying to defend their clients and let him have custody of the child because he feels the mother is overfeeding her with some very sweet things of and what of you. So it's been rescheduled for another hearing. So then the next thing, Emena is not so happy with the situation. She puts a call through to Rosa. At least these are about 2-3 enemies of Julia. She puts a call through to Rosa and tell her she's very certain that there is a relationship between Julia and Pablo. So I'm sure they're going to have a conversation, or they will talk and try to plot some things in the next episode. So we'll keep our fingers crossed as we wait for that. So Rosa and Emena talk. Then Maria, Christiana, and she's talking about her wedding with her designer. So after the much talk about the color of wedding dress she would like to use, the next thing is that they're having a very small gossip about Pablo, Camilo, and Catalina. Pablo, Camilo, and Julia. So she's letting them know that Julia likes they are going out on a date, and everybody actually likes Pablo. They just really like him. They wish Pablo would be the man for her. So she had said in all, she's not going to talk or say anything, but she will just give Pablo some great ideas, like, you understand. So she really doesn't want to get involved in the whole scenario or in the whole thing, but she just wants her daughter to be happy in the long run. Pablo and Julia discusses, and now he tells her he doesn't plan to leave her. This is so interesting. Like, you understand that situation where a guy would have met and say, you know what, I don't care if you had someone before, I am unbothered. If your boyfriend is returning from wherever he is, I'm now with you and I will be with you. So that is the case, or what Pablo pulled up in that scene. So the next is Ortega's law firm. They're having a conversation, analyzing Hernando. With Hernando in charge, they are analyzing the whole cases that they've had in the previous week, analyzing the sources, the progress, the failures, and everything. And eventually, to end it all, Hernando congratulates Julia for winning her case. That's the Marcella case, and that ends it all. And then when, yes, she had an altercation, not really a very minor altercation with Rosa asked her if she had children or kids. She said no, and they said okay, that's the reason. And at the end of it, Pablo tell her that he can help her achieve that, like having kids. That guy is never ready to leave her. So like when I watched that scene, I was so laughing. Like I was really laughing. So okay, to almost end it up, so they said they needed a new criminal lawyer. And guess Mr. Marcos, one of the lawyers who I said was like very active in one of his hearings in the court. Definitely the time has come. Nick saw that situation or the hearing, and he liked the way he won the case. So obviously he's decided he's going to like, he just told them okay, he has a lawyer already. So obviously I'm sure he will get Marcos into the court. This is so before I talk about this, let me really laugh. It's about Catalina. She's still very worried with the way Gabriel treated her. So she comes to meet Nicholas for some advice, like okay, they're in the same category of using girls for fling and all of that. So she gets to meet him for advice. She plainly tells him the situation, like okay, this is what it is, and the best advice for her. And he said, well, two things: it's either you keep having the fling with him or you just forget it. Like, oh my baby girl, Gabriel, please do not do this to her. I beg you in the name of God, do not do this to her. So you better find your way back to Catalina's heart. Anyway, I pray she just gets. I really care so much about her. I hope she gets back. I hope she gets back eventually. So the next thing is this Amma. It's in the office. I'm sure she wants to see who is the person handling that case. Yes, she's in the office to see Elias. She's at the reception, and guess who comes in? Great Mrs. Maria Christiana. That's Julia's mama. She has an appointment with Hernando. So that woman and her gifts. I really like the way she walks into the office. She got Carmen her gift, and also berries. Yes, so she got, and Hernando is in a meeting as advised by Carmen, so she needs to sit and wait for her. So she gets to sit at the reception side by side Mrs. Amma. So they almost wanted to strike a conversation, like okay, do you like this? And when she saw the face of Mrs. Amma, like she's so she's so shocked, like surprised, and that she had to use the magazine to cover her face. Like she wasn't ready to talk with her, or who is this, or what is this. Those were the expressions she put out there, and it looked really funny. I wouldn't say beautiful, it really looked funny, but all the same, that was the end of the episode of Door of the Heart. So did you just see it? And what were you highlighting the last episode? What do you think would happen in the next one? So let's have conversation. All my people, talk to me now. Let's have conversation about all of this, because I'm enjoying it. I really look forward to watching Door of the Heart every day. Like I just want to say it's aired almost often, but I just like to say it. So what's your highlight in the last episode, and what would you like to share with us? What are your expectations? What do you expect, or what do you think will occur in next episode on Lord of the Heart? Kindly let me know in the comment section. So this is Essie the model, your girl. Please, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe here. I love you again, and until I come your way, I am your topical girl, Essie. Bye.